as the season started, I was right there with you, Mike. I was like 7 wins. Maybe if we get 8, that would be awesome. But like you saw, like I saw, once Noah stepped in and he took over, it was just a very different team, and the wins started to stack up. And to be honest with you, me and my wife, we joke about this all the time, but I've said this. I think that the defense will be as good or better than what I played on when I was in college, and we were the number one defense 2 years in a row when I was there. I think we have. I mean, you look at our corners with Ephesians and Takario. I mean, they were. I think one was honorable mention, and the other one was a second team DB. These are first year. Well, not first year, but first year full time starters, and you're already getting accolades like that. I think the D line is just going to be amazing. I think the strides that Isaiah, Ward, and Deuce have both made. I think once they put some weight on and put some lead in their pencil and can really get after that quarterback, I think you're going to see 2 guys that can give you possibly double-digit sacks from both of them.
All right, you played on a defensive line that, for my money, is – if there's a better defensive line ever in college football, I would love to see it. When Russell Davis Sr. is the quote-unquote weak link as a second-round pick. But let's just talk about this for a second. You've got Vonnie Holliday, Greg Ellis, Ebenezer Ekubon. I don't believe Julius Peppers was there yet when you were there.
He
correct?
was my senior year was his freshman year.
Okay.
So he was redshirted, yes, but he was there.
All right. So just talk about from the D line, because good D line play. What does it take from just the interior and the outside to be effective, and then kind of translate that to what you've seen with this Arizona team?
Well, I think, one, you need really good edge rushers. I mean, you need guys that they're not necessarily getting the quarterback on the ground all the time, but you need people that can make him uncomfortable in the pocket. And that's what I think both Deuce and Isaiah will be able to do. And speaking from an interior guy, I mean, you're a 3 technique or a nose guard. You need somebody that can push the pocket. And I think that Kangaika, I think Ty, I think those guys are going to really make huge strides and big jumps for next year. I think Bill Norton was huge this year. I mean, I think Bill Norton was probably one of the defensive MVPs. I mean, he's probably the most underrated guy out there for what he brings to this team, that toughness, because nobody really respects what a nose guard does, because it's a thankless position. You don't get all the cute accolades, the sacks and the strip sacks, and but being able to take up 2 blockers and allowing Minor to run free and make all those plays. I think he had like 110 tackles this year. So
6.5 sacks.
6.5 sacks, right. So I just think that with the addition of a great nose guard like that, it has really helped our team and has given some of those younger guys, including my son, that confidence of being able to lean on that older guy who's been there, who has 2 championships, who understands what a championship mentality is. I think that has really been, one of the biggest improvements for us.
All right. Now let's talk a little bit about Deuce Davis. I asked Jedd Fisch about a month ago. I said, talk a little bit about Deuce and what you've seen. And he said, obviously got to continue to get stronger. He said, but he has a unique ability to bend, and he has a unique burst off the ball that you're either born with or you're not. You can kind of work with it a little bit, but he said he's a unique player. And he said it's been a pleasure to be able to work with him and to watch him progress. Talk a little bit about what Fisch said there, because again, that's you commenting on Jedd's comments right there.
Yeah, I think that's great. It's a lot of hard work too. I appreciate the fact that he said you're either born with it or you're not. One of the things that I take a great deal of pride in is when I hear people talk about how hard he works and his motor and how he's always competing. Because when he was young, I knew that the game was evolving, or I could see where the game was evolving to more of a passing game, and you needed people who could get after the ball. And so one of the main people that I think I used to model him after was Simeon Rice. I played with him with the Cardinals for a while. And I just think he was ahead of his time as far as his athleticism and what he did. So that was somebody that I modeled Deuce's game after. Michael Strahan, O.C. Umenyiora. There were a lot of guys like that I would take what I felt like they did great, and I tried to implement that with Deuce. So, for Jedd to say that, he's a special talent, that means a lot to me. but it also, I think, puts pressure on him that he needs to perform. I mean, I think he started to show flashes this year that he could get to the quarterback. I think as a father, I watched about 5 or 6 sacks that I was like, man, what are you doing? He just got pushed by because he doesn't have that weight. So I think he's very strong. I mean, I
Right.
see the little videos on social media, and he's power cleaning 275, squatting. He says 600, but I have to see that. So you know how that is. They say
Yeah.
one thing and you're like, yeah, okay.
Right.
But I mean, he's a lot stronger for his size than people will give him credit for. But I really appreciate that. We know with Coach Fisch, I think he's done a great job of selecting these young men. When that 22 class came in, there was a lot of hype built up around them and what they were supposed to bring to this team and help this team do. And I think he's done a great job with that. And I think he's done a great job with the recruiting class and putting these young men in a position to really make U of A a contender.